Hi Glennis, good evening to you. Wendy, good evening to you too. Wendy, thank you very much for earlier today. That was great, thank you. All sent, all sorted. No outcome, but yeah, I'll keep you posted. Yeah. 8 watching, 2 signed in. Derek, good evening to you. Derek, I did get your message. I'm so sorry I didn't get back to you. I've just been full on. What I'll try and do is maybe pick some stuff up from you maybe Thursday or Friday on my way home from work, if that's a good time for you to call. Come and grab it on the way home after the gallery. If that works, let me know. Now then, we are 8 watching. No, it's fantastic. Thank you so much. Cheers, Bendy. Sue, good evening to you. I'm hoping James will join us tonight. He was hoping to get off early from work. We're down to 6. So I've upset 2 already. There you go. 'Tis life. We'll wait a little while longer, a bit early at the moment. Still a few minutes to go. So 7 watching and 4 of you have said hi in the chat. So that means 3 of you are sitting on the side being very incognito. Yeah, it would be after that time, mate. I don't shut the gallery until 5, as you know, so I'll see how I'm progressing, but probably, say Thursday or Friday, because I'm teaching all day Wednesday. Just see how the day goes. I'll give you a heads up, though. I won't just descend upon you without warning. Well, 9 in. If you're sitting on the side, say hi, say hello, introduce yourself. Not to be shy. All right, well, it's now 7, so we better get started. Quick glug before I do start. There we go. Right, so oils and little panels, and that's what I said I was going to do tonight. And whereas the other week I did about 4 or 5 or 6 watercolors in the time, I'm not going to get that many done in oils. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. But panels, let's just talk about different panels and some of the colors I'm using, and we'll go from there. Okay, so panels, all sorts of panels. You know, white panels, you can color your panels. I like oatmeal colored ones. Now the difference between this one and this one is that this one is a commercial brand, and it's a well-known company, Loxley or somebody like that, Clairefontaine, I'm not sure which one. This, however, is a standard piece of MDF, in very much the same as this piece. They're both the same sort of board, although I think this is a 3mm version and this is a 2.4mm. And all I've done is I have my own natural canvas, which I've then glued and sealed onto this board. Now, gotta say that I love this, and these at the moment are rarer than rocking horse teeth, I gotta say. They're just not being able to come on the market quick enough, and they're just in short supply at certain sizes, but this particular brand is. Now there is another brand actually called Gerstacker, but they have really odd sizes, and unfortunately they're not standard in any one of their sizes. So for that reason, I like to work in set sizes 8, 10, 10, 12, 12, 16. When you look at Gerstacker, or whatever, however you pronounce that name, they're really odd. And so there's nothing wrong with the product, don't get me wrong. I've got several of their bigger canvases. In fact, there's one over there of their set canvases, but that's a standard size they do for that, but not for the boards. Anyway, so this is one I've made. You can see the difference in the weave. This is coarser because it's a glue on there, gluing it down, of course, and then a sealant in terms of a clear gesso on the top. So this is nice and smooth. This is very, very coarse, and there is a big difference. Now this one is the same board as this, as I just said, just slightly narrower, but this has had 2 coats of white gesso, and then it's had a colored gesso on top, which is just a mid-tone. You can make it a cool mid-tone, you can make it a warm mid-tone. This happens to be a warm one. I've got in both types, so that's that. Alright, I'm going to start with this, and I better reveal to you what we're painting. I've lost my thingy. There we are. I need that. Now, where is the one we are doing? Bear with me. Is it that one? I'm not sure. Yes, it's that one. There we are. That's what I'm going to start off with, and hopefully I'm going to do a fairly quick colour setup of St Mark's Square in Venice, just to quickly go over the colours that I am going to be using. Fairly limited, but I've got basically 2 blues, 2 reds, 2 yellows, and a white. I also use, as most of you know, I seem to have mislaid it, no, it's sitting right there, as a, believe it or not, a tube of burnt umber. So, did you use normal PVA to stick the canvas on? Yes, I think I did. I might have actually used a spray mount. I did about 30 of these, Wendy, and you can see that they are lifting. And so there's only about 3 or 4 panels that have survived not doing this. So that it's not really, as you can see, it's not really that good. And I can't remember what I used. I think I used, it's either a PVA or spray mount. I can't remember. But the thing is that what I need to do is look at a better glue. And I think I will probably use a stronger PVA to start with and see how that works and see if it holds. Basically, I'm going to do a few experiments. I've got a lot of this on a roll, so and in fact things like this I don't have to throw them away. I can re-glue them and put them down, and they should carry on as they were intended. Alright, so we can't use that one anyway today, but just to give you some idea, excuse me, I did one of the panels today that was okay. It's one that I glued myself, and you can see here I've just put this up on my Instagram. I'll hold that in a straight way. There we go. And that was what I sat and did this morning, just in preparation to get an idea, feeling of what I wanted to do later. But it turned out nicely. It's on that oatmeal canvas that you've just seen, and hopefully yeah, hopefully you get the idea. So let's put that out of the way, because that's now got to dry, and hopefully someone will see it on my artist pledge and want to buy it. Anyway, there's the colours. That's what I'm using. Brushes I'm using, I'm trying to keep it to a few to give you an idea that you don't need that many. I happen to have a long filbert, bit of a fancy one really, to be quite honest. It's not needed in total, but you can see that it's a lovely brush. I've got 3 flat brushes, different sizes, and then I have a small flat which I draw with, and then I have a rigger. This is a bit of a thick rigger. It's about a number 2 or 3, I think. It's a number 2, and yeah, it's not as thin as a 1 or a 0, but that just shows you all you need. As for mixing, I've got some Zest-It, and that is my medium or solvent of choice, but I have got a little bit sloppy with it lately, I've got to say, hence a bit of tissue just going underneath. But I'm also using some fine detail liquid in there. Now you can see that it will not tolerate too much. You're going to get it mixed up, so be careful how much you press down with your brush when you pick some up. But don't want to put too much in a dish or any container, because it gets sticky and you will wreck your container very, very quickly if you're not careful. If you don't want to use the fine detail, which is more fluidic, then you can always use this one, which is the liquid impasto. This is the other extreme of the liquid range. There is one in the middle which is called liquid original, which was how it was, and that's a little bit like cottage cheese in a way, that sort of consistency. This is whole lot, just this will sit on the side and like a tube of paint basically, and the fine detail will just literally run everywhere, but that's how it's intended. We will paint on this one now, which is the prepared oatmeal canvas, and I will paint on this toned one if there's time at the other end. Alright, so first and foremost, let's have a look at our picture, and I don't want this to be too detailed. Believe it or not, it's a very detailed subject, but I want it to be fairly not detailed, and I'm just going to mark, not detailed, is that a word? I think it's a word. Just going to mark some areas. I love this great big tower, this I don't know, is it Campano? I don't know what they call that, but I'm sure there'll be knowledgeable people among you that will tell me, but I'm just giving myself some form of reference to start from. And I saw a picture from a friend of mine years ago painting this, and I just thought it was an outstanding image, and it was one of the first things that when I first got to Venice, it was one of the first things that I actually photographed. You know, but unfortunately you can see that one of the sides is under a lot of restoration, and so too hoardings around the tower that I'm doing, so I'm not quite sure, never did get to see how that was finished off, so I'm going to wing it, have to wing it, have no real choice in the matter. I'm going to bring that down here, and it is going to be as fast as I can. If it's not going to be fast, then you know we're doomed. This picture is just going to take all day. I'm just going to put in a center mark here somewhere there for the roof, and then the 2 domes. There's this first one in the center, nice big old dome. There's a second one behind it, almost lost. I never realized when I first looked at this there are actually 2 domes there, but there are, and yeah, just be aware of that. And the way you can get rid of the hoarding on this side is that you mimic on what's on the other side. Half domes on each side, and there's a little bit more room between that one and there, a little bit less room from there to there, so there's more room there. And the same on this side, they will be about the same distance apart, so about something like that. Okay, now again, with oil paints you can play around and rearrange and draw around and alter as you feel fit, as you feel the need to do. So let's just look at these domes again. Are they about the right size? Hopefully they are, not far off. And just put their little tops on there. There's a big one at the back and another nice top to that. Okay. There is another roof behind there. I can't see too much of it, and there are a couple of sort of sparry, load of beautiful Venetian architecture, of course, and yeah, doesn't need really discussing. We all know how good it all is, and if we've all been lucky enough, or most of us been lucky enough to visit, I've only been the one time. I'd love to have the chance to get back again. There is another arch affair there and there, a major one which lifts right up into there, and try and get that sort of beautiful shape. Now I'm already, actually no I'm not, I thought I was off center, but it's actually is off center to the rest of this part here, so I'm just going to put that in like so. Let's have a look at the thing. Anyone else? Leora, good evening to you, nice to see you, and yeah, good to see you back. Right, just going to put that in and come down here with some of these shapes. Now it's not going to have the finesse maybe of a really heavily considered oil painting. This is a very quick in the field type of sketch, in the sense that we would be doing if we were doing a plein air study. Just something down on the ground. Now we shall see how far out we are off of here. So I'm going to bring that down to about there. I think we are below that halfway mark, so we're about right with that. Nice big tall set of steps and doors, which just beautiful when you get to see this area here. And there is one directly under there, another one under there. Try and get them about even and the same if you can. There, and another one there. Bit more paint, bit more everything. Can't see how this really ends, so once more I have got to wing the situation. I think what I need to do is look in some references and just see some pictures of this building without that on, even if this one's covered up now, sort of thing, just to give myself an idea how the building sort of ends up looking on each end. So I've got to wing it, so if I get it wrong, please excuse that. It's a case that I couldn't get to see it at the time, and I suppose I could have considered, you know, I could have quite happily researched a little bit more to get it how it should be, but hopefully we will be about right. There you go. So is Wendy there? Ben's not here, because if Ben was here, what he would have done is he would have already got a picture up on his phone and probably emailed it to me so I can see what the end looks like. Wouldn't that be fun? Alright, there we go. That's something along the lines of, I'm sure if it's wrong it will be okay. Just going to suggest now refining some of these shapes in here like so, and that lovely arched frontage which comes around like so. And now I'm refining these shapes. I put them in to give myself a bit of a gauge, bit of a starting point, but now I'm trying to refine the shapes a little more. I'm hoping that this will not take an earth to do. If it does, then you're only going to get the one painting tonight. But let's hope that it doesn't. Let's just hope we can get there. And I think that that is not far off. So I'm going to put that nice big line down through there. And this one here. And I'm not even going to worry too much about the windows at this stage, nor the sort of four lines that up and down. I'm not too worried about any of those. I could put the hoarding in. I don't know, it really doesn't add anything. So again, I got to wing it because I don't know what this area looks like. Some lovely area here. I'm going to shorten this down to here. Take that out. Now I can't do that with the ones that I do, the ones that I glued down. I cannot do what I've just done. Now that's there, and that needs to come up to there. And then that needs to come up to there. Yes, I say I can't actually do that, rubbing out. This is a, I don't know if this is very, very shiny surface. So I'm thinking that the glue they use could even be something like a PVA type glue, which allows that to have that very shiny surface. We'll put those windows in there and arch down through the back there. We can just about see that. Okay, Teresa, good evening to you. Nice of you to join us. Good to see you. Now then, what there is here, there are these lovely lead-in lines, and it's a beautiful, I'm suggesting them. I'm probably not even going to try and replicate exactly how they look, because they're a bit of a jigsaw puzzle, and I'm already getting lost. Look at that. So you're going to have to, we're just going to put a few in, and I'm just not too worried about that lovely design. But and it just radiates out from the light, so I'm going to come through there and put one or two lines like that in, something like that. And then of course we've got people. Now I'm going to just give myself a little earmark, just a few people, just one or two places, very few marks like so. They're going to be gone over. I'm not going to worry about that. Just one or two people like that. Now what I've always said to you, look at their heads, okay, and they want to come down just a tad to about there, like so. If you're looking at this picture, you'll see all sorts of people, and it's one of the reasons I like this picture, is because it does demonstrate that people's heads, pretty much, depending how far away they are all on that same line, right through there, on my horizon line, basically. There's one fella that is really close on by, and you know, he's got much bigger posture, and he's taken a lot more room up, but again his line is roughly on the same level as everybody else, so it's worth taking into account. Alright, so I think we've done enough drawing. Whether it's correct, whether it's not, I'm not overly worried. It is just a sketch. Keith, good evening to you. Thanks for joining, mate. Now I'm gonna well, I'm not gonna do that. I was just about to paint the sky in burnt umber. Really not a good idea. So now I'm going to come in, and I've got my two blues. I'm using ultramarine blue and a bit of cobalt blue, and I've touched, now there's a threatening old sky. I'm going to use a little bit of cadmium red, not indigo, because it will make it too purpley. I'm going to come in with a little bit of white just to sort of season it to taste, take the values out a little bit, and then start coming in. And I'm going to put some liquid into that, and I will come back in with some other colours, but this was quite a moody day. There was some rain later, all sorts of things happening, and I just wanted to suggest that, because the lovely thing about this whole thing is that you get a great sense of the warms and cools relating to blues, and then the orange of the tower. And I'm still unsure what it's called. There is a name. I know they've all got a name. I think they're not just particular to Venice, but they are all over. Right, there we go. Just going to come in very quickly. Take that through there. Not too worried about that. Just take that up there. Watch the shape. If you can maintain the shape, be careful. Don't lose it. A little bit in there. And we're already isolating our domes, and we're isolating all these little statue parts. Now they are going to mix, the colour that you're mixing against will mix with the browns, the umbers that you've already drawn in. It really doesn't matter. As I said, this is an alla prima sketch, alla prima, standing for the fact that you will start and finish this in one session. This is not to be carried on. If it's going to be alla prima, it has to begin and end tonight, or before I'm not going to let it to dry. I'm not going to start another one. I will start this and end it. There we go. And mix some more of that up. A bit of red in there. Quite moody down here. I think a little bit more red in there would help. Just going a little bit too much of the blue. Just going to bring that down. It's quite dark and moody when we've got the clouds working. Maybe not as dark as I've got it, but I quite like that, so I'm going to stay with that right now. I can change things, it's not a problem. There's just a lot of big heavy clouds working their way through on this particular day. I'm going to bring that all the way in against that dome. Right, so that's going to make that dome really punch when it comes to it. Like so. Up the other side of this one. Work as fast as you possibly can. Now if you was outside doing this, then of course you don't have a massive amount of time before all the shadows that you see will change. So you do have to work quite fast. I'm going to bring that lovely blue down and I'm going to lighten it. Now this is counter change. Nice use of, because up against the tower we've got the dark shadowy area. So let's bring a lighter but definitely slatier blue down the side of it. Come back in with some of our darks. Then we can, doesn't have to be a dark blue line right up to it. We can suggest that the cloud also goes behind it. But predominantly we've got that nice light bluish colour. Light compared to this anyway. And we will just bring that on up. Now, I hope this will be done inside the hour, so that gives me a chance to do the second. But you know me, there's no guarantee that this won't be done in 2 hours. But I hope so, because I'm timing myself in a sense. If I were standing here on the day painting this as I did way back when I last went there, and yeah, which was a great day, great trip. I love that trip. Fond memories. I got there very late at night, about 11 o'clock, as there were delays everywhere, including the vaporetto. All delayed. Everything was just contriving not to let me ever see Venice in the raw. And I got there. I was overdressed. I went there because I was told by so many friends who know it, supposedly know it. Now looking at that, that needs to come down a bit. I think I've got a little bit of height issue going on some of these domes, so I will check that out, take that down, check that out there, and play around with some of that in a moment. Anyway, yes, I got there very, very late, and my landlady, who I'd never met, talked to her on the phone several times, because I was renting a like a B&B type thing just off of the square, actually, just behind me. Just literally where I'm standing facing here, behind me there's another doorway set going out the other end of the square, and just through there round one corner was the entrance to where I was staying for the week or so. And it was great, delightful. And anyway, I got there and I'd missed the time that she was going to be around to see me in. And I had no idea, did not speak a word of the language. And as it happened, there was a art shop, believe it or not, holding some really late hours. Just up, I walked around with my trolley and my painting bag and everything else. And he actually did speak English, which was fortunate. And I said, where I was staying, gave him an address and a contact number. He rang my landlady, and Bob's your uncle, she came down to the quay and met me. I was getting a bit panicky, gotta say, but it all worked out very, very well. And there's so many stories relating to that though. I'm going to put a little bit of pinks in here. I want to put a few of the reds in to my blues, just to play around with some of these clouds, picking up some of the light in the distance. Yes, when I got there, I was always told by friends who had been there that if I see a restaurant within a 5-minute walk of this particular square, walk straight past it. If it's got pictures of the food they display outside on a board, don't trust it. So for the first day I walked around and around and around. I thought, right, I'm so far away from St. Mark's Square, it doesn't matter. I can eat something now because I am nowhere near 5 minutes. I'm much further away. So I stopped and I had something that purported to be a chicken sandwich type thing. It was like a chicken burger and a back roll, basically. Tasted awful. Can't tell you how bad that was. And so anyway, fairly unimpressed with the whole thing. I walked back around one corner and I was back in St. Mark's Square. So the adage was that I did actually eat not 5 minutes less than, but probably less than 30 seconds away. And I just walked around without knowing where I was, and I'd walked around in circles as it happens. But there you go, lesson learned. It was what it is. We are where we are, and we just get on with it. And yeah. But then I found what they call the co-ops, or I call it co-op, coop, whatever you want to call it. But they were good. But I had got fed up on the third day of it eating dry bread and cheese as all my meals, and I was getting a little bit fed up with that diet. So I actually talked to my landlady. I said, look, you live here, you eat here too, and not always inside. Can you tell me where to go? And she gave me a number and a little map to find this little pasta place on the way to the Rialto, up a little alleyway. And she said that's where we and locals go to eat. Now, when I found it, there was a father and a son, and 2 chairs, 2 bar stools on one side, and it's mainly a takeaway, but you could sit and eat there. And I explained and I told them where I was staying and the landlady, and they knew her, and they actually treated me like a local. They charged me non-tourist rates, which was fantastic, and I ate there morning, noon and night. And it was great, and I had a very good experience with those guys. They really did look after me. It's fantastic. Anyway, I'm carping on now, talking about rubbish. Where are we? Bad food in Italy. What a shame. I thought the food was great there. That was back in 78. Well, it is great food if you know where to go, Leora. I certainly didn't know where to go. Sean, good evening to you, mate. Just seen you pop into the throw there. Sure you're not safe out on your own? No, I'm not actually. That's true enough, Wendy. I will politely decline to comment on the food I had in England. No, hey, you don't need to be politely declining. We've all had some of that food at different times, I'm sure. Right, now then, I'm going to come in with a bit of blue, bit of ultramarine, and a bit of umber, and into my red, like that, making a really dark but quite warm, not too cold. And it's going to come down here, and that is too hot. I'm going to come with a bit more red into that now, make it more of a blazy colour, like so. Now I am using liquid quite a bit in this. You can see that it's a little skatey over the top of the surface because I'm painting thin. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to use the same product. You can use no liquid. You can use a more thixotropic version if you wish to. Now that is getting a little bit thick up the top end there. So I am going to wipe back some of that, I think. That's it. Clean my brush through, just pop back in with a bit of blue, a bit of the red, bit of that sky colour again, just play around with that. Just bring that back down. It's got a bit contaminated, be careful. Okay, just come down with that light colour, which is what I wanted to use in the first place. I'm going to play around with that in a minute if I'm not happy with what I've just done to that sky. It's not, none of it is set in stone. So I can play around with that. But I want to come back in, and I'm just going to clean that brush, go to the smaller flat, which I think that's not a bit of a groggy one I've picked up. So let's come in with a just a short flat. I don't like these ones too much very often, but it's there and it's closest to me. So let's come in with that short flat. Let's just take that line down again. I think that is a better line over all, like so. Okay, and I'm going to use it just to play around with that sky a little bit. Had it really nice, but I lost it when I rubbed that back. So I'm just going to clean up that side. There we go. That's okay, that's fine, happy with that. Now I'm going to come in with some lovely oranges. Now it is going to be really, compared to the photo, over the top. But that is part divisive and part because I just like this combination, and it does pump it up really, really nicely. You can come back in and cool it. I'm just going to come down and give myself a strong edge down through there. Don't want any bumps in the shape. Keep it nice and cool and nice and strong. I'm coming in with a bit of white and a little bit of the orange now, a little more yellow into it, and then come back over the whole thing and take that as the burnished sunlight hitting that brick face in the late afternoon. I'm going to take this back this way a little bit, just because it is more a course and colour of brickwork in certain places. Take that down and let that really resonate against that beautiful blue. That's the idea. The lovely yin-yang situation of complementaries working. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. We'll have to go back in there and sort that one out. I'm a bit clumsy. Okay. Trying to eliminate any of the underlines that I can see, and we can come back the other way shortly if we wish to. Now then, Leora, I will politely decline it. Leora, thank you so much. You're so sweet. How's the pastels going, by the way? I keep watching some of the stuff you keep putting up. I keep seeing those, and delightful pieces of work. Can I come in here with that lovely dome colour now? And keep that light on it this side. That really does punch against that wind, that sort of stormy day, and there is that dome at the back. Look how that really works. I can create this one and this one all at the same time. Now they're going to take on some of the umber, and if you're worried about that, don't. It will just help. It's not the end of the world. You can always come back in with a bit more blue, a bit more cool color. I'm just going to try and marry these two up. This one's got to come up, I think, like so. This one's got to come down. How could I have got those two so far out? I think they're a little closer now. A little. Not saying they're perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but they're better. Right. Now then, I'm going to try, because this I'm working blind because I don't know what's behind exactly. And well, I do. I know there's 2 more of those there. But of course, they may well be in different degrees of light and shadow. And that's the thing. So I've got to punch away at this fairly smartly. I put a pale blue across there, not that blue, maybe a little lighter there on top, right up into there. Okay, and very similar to the crest top of the Doge's palace in the distance, which is there. And there's a very, very fine light color down, and this is all about punching out the lights against the sun. The cloud, you know how it is when you get a lovely cloud, you can see how much darker I'm making that tower, that orange now. It's really resonating against that light color that I've just put in there, like so. Going all the way down to the ground. And that's all about tonal shift and nothing more. Something like that. There is a very, very fine pattern which I don't want to lose, and it's very easy lost here. I'm just putting this, making this a little pinker than I first had it, but I don't want to lose the intensity of the light. Easily done. Easily done. And take that up a little higher, like so. And there are some little white shapes, very light shapes of architecture along the top of the roof line. I say I can't see what they are, but mine are merely suggestions of what is. I'm going to take that down. Look at that edge. I may have to run down with the other colour again. Just trying to bring that down to there, and then I've got to look at these very, very lovely, beautiful shapes in there, and then there's a little drop down to what is an arched doorway. There's another building here which we will put in very, very shortly. Now I've gone against, as you can see, no, that's fine. I've done it myself, Leora. It is a great way of continually working on a subject and not having to wait. If you're blocking in, and of course you do have to wait, unless you're working as I am alla prima, you do have to, in theory, wait for the layer underneath to dry sufficiently before you do that. So working as an acrylic base before you then commence with an oil top is perfectly acceptable, and I've done it many times, especially if I'm on a commission and I've got to work fairly fast. I don't have the luxury of all that time, so it's perfectly acceptable to do that. Now I'm going to come in here with a very much exaggerated, that's what I was trying to think of. Nice stripe, that lovely shadow from the other building. What's happened? Something's happened. I don't know what that is. Get rid of that. There we are. Sorry. Yes, just an exaggerated shadow that is represented of the cast of that or another building nearby. I'm going to come in, darken that off, make it redder too. More of the orange see into it, like so. I like that. Again, it's all these lovely color choices that being able to make a little bit of warmth into there as well will go well. Okay, back to this area here. It does look completely complicated, and it is. Apparently my Siri has now come on. I don't know why it likes doing that. It seems to wait for me to get started on something like this and then starts talking to me. Okay, I'm going to put
Just a moment.
I do apologise. Oh, stop. Right, how do I turn you off? Close the lid. Hopefully that will stop it. Right. Oh dear. Now I have got a mole stick which I will use, and that will just allow me to work on this without damaging any of the work that I put in so far. I'm putting this lovely shadow, but it's paler than that. It's not as dark as that. So I need to come in with a slight bit of white in there just to take that back. That's much better. Lovely value. And it comes a little further out around that dome edge like so. Lovely shape to it. And it comes down and it allows for one of the figurines, one of the statues, to be illuminated in a much lighter colour. I'm going to bring that all the way down here like so, and across here and down like so. Hopefully that's not too far out. There are some darker shadows in the between, but I need to check where we are on some of these other shapes and forms. I nearly put one in. I just realised there's a big crane behind there. I never spotted that. Never mind. Right, I'm going to come in with some of my mid-tones, some of my shadow colours around these archways like so. Start filling in all these gaps, all these shapes. There is the edge of the building there, coming down. It's in a lot of shade and shadow from the structure beside it, of course. So we're going to come in and I'm going to make great use of that. There we are. Almost painted that in. Almost. A few bits of details. There's a bit of a dark line of something. Not quite that blue. Let's take that down. It's got a lot more warmth to it. Take that down like so. A bit more light in there as well. A bit of a shade of something, so that we distinguish it against the edge of our column, whatever that's called. Where's Ben when you need him? Right, so we've got that light part there, and I'm just going to take the shapes of the all the way through in almost a straight line, and we play around with that edge there, coming down, just pick up a bit more colour to take that to there, and that's sorted. Now I'm going to come in. There's a red brick building in the background, or orange bricks. I'm not quite sure what that is, but it's there. And there's a little bit of dark recess into that too. So we're going to put that in. A little dark recess in there. Look at your tones, watch your tones. Don't get too carried away with your darks and your lights. Just keep an eye on them. Just put that in and leave that to settle down. And we've got this other one coming up here, which wasn't high enough. Okay, I'm going to leave that to about there for the moment. Let us carry on. Let's get a dark value in. Let's go in with some umber and some blue now. Let's get this dark in here. Now, it's dark on one side, like so. And then, of course, it catches a bit of light. So we're going to put a bit of light in there. Now, that works very, very nicely. Okay. Coming down, and we've got a lovely recessed shadow in our main entry and in these two as well. These are less described because they are already in shade, so they're not punching out as they would have been had the light been on them. And I still need to give them a shape, still need to give them that nice overall look. Okay. Where are we? Bear It'll dark up in here in a moment. I'll play around with those shapes and things, and the same up on here and on this one. And we've got a few lights to come in, so let's just look at the way that I think these should be going. So I'm going to come across these with much more light and dark than the other side. As I say, I'm looking at them finishing about the same as each other, so I'm thinking that I'll take that out, that this will have a stop about there, which I need to put some colour in. And then, like this one comes out, I think this one will do the same. Something like that. I think I've got it way too red, but if it does the yin-yang of lights and darks, then I'm not too unhappy. Maybe put a bit more yellow to that. Will work. A nice light around that top arch as it goes on up into there. A little bit of yellow and warmth around the bases of those rear domes. There's lights into those ones, but we will leave those for the moment. A little bit of yellow into that one. Nice whitish building over here, but I'm not too sure what's on top, so I'm going to come down. I'm going to allow the negative space to remain of those windows so that I suggested. Take that through. I'm guessing that had that been normal, will go down behind that hoarding. So I'm going to allow that, and hopefully I'm not wrong. If I am, then so be it. I can't see too much more of what's going on at this point, so I'm going to leave that like so. I have no idea how this looks to you guys. We've lost a few people, so maybe they're getting bored. Perhaps people don't like Venice. I can't see why they wouldn't like Venice. A lovely place to like. Right, a bit of detail and building behind here, which will give an edge to the end of this one, and goes on up to that light strip, which we will put in a moment. And then there is some paler, whiter, maybe a little bluer along the top here. Okay, leave that like that. Right. Now then, let's just start looking. There is two of those, but what I've missed is this part in here actually. There are two wide ones, and I've missed a walk-through arch. So I need to just gently extend. See how I can reinvent the architecture in this place. Take that out a little further, which will not hurt it, I'm sure. My drawing's a little bit off because of that, but hey ho. And I want to put in a light area, suggesting, now it's harder to put lights over darks, so don't keep working the paint, because all it wants to do is join in with its one you're putting over. So just be aware of that. Just give that a bit more shape and more delicately for the archway. And now I'm going to come across with a very reddish but more yellow. No, not that one. A little bit more blue into that, and just trying to mix into my colour where I want that to go. It was a little bit too obviously yellow. There you go. That's what I was looking to. A very light colour. I'll leave that fella in place, but I'm going right the way through these other figures. For the moment, I'm just going to come in and suggest the steps there. All sorts of things going on. Can't see too much of what is, but there we are. We've messed it up enough, I hope. And just bring in some nice lights through here, down to about there. I think mixing up the colours is not a bad thing either. Put some nice cools in the ground as well as some warms. Like so. Take them all the way through there. Mix up a little bit more umber, a bit more blues. Take that through here. Nice straight even line. And I think there is a plinth or a warning. Oh, picked up a great big lump of blue paint. That would have gone badly wrong. I think there's some sort of blue plinth at the base there. Not quite sure what I can see there, to be quite honest with you. I'm so reluctant to put the hoarding in. That needs to come down deeper into there. And take that light of this building down a little further. And then we've got the darkness of this one, which is quite a, got a bit of green to it. I'm going to come in with that. A nice dark shadowy building right on, returning back up the side of the square. Bit greener than I was suggesting. Not so much of the blue. Maybe a bit of a warmer colour in there too. Just suggesting the shape. Again, I can't see how it ends because of course we've got that darn hoarding right the way through the scene, but hopefully it's working. Yeah, I thought it was the Campanile, but I wasn't sure if that was its specific name. Okay, that's cool. I mean, they're all over the show. They are not just in this city, but they're in many of. Now I'm going to put in a lovely blue shadow right the way across this square, and this really does set the bar for this painting because it again is a lovely yin yang of beautiful color contrast. The yellows and the mauves in this shadow work beautifully with the blues and the oranges in the other one. I can now bring that down to the base. Don't worry at this stage about any of those lines or any of the people. We'll get to those very, very shortly. I need to know how far I've been going. 15 hours. Oh, we're running tight to time. So whatever I do after this one will have to be very quick. And if I don't finish this one tonight, then I'll finish this one in the morning. Not a problem, but I did promise you more than one oil, so I will endeavour to provide that. So this is fairly crude, but it would be, it says crude. Crude is the wrong word. Fresh is a better word. People often call it loose. I refer to loose as when things fall off of things. But loose seems to be the word that most people use. So I'll have to go with that for the while. Right, but that gives us that lovely shape. Now I think there is a slight leg in it, so I'm going to bring that up. I think that needs to come up there and across there and straighten up, and I think there is sort of like that, something of that nature. Another building there that's creating this additional little shape difference, something like that, and then coming through there like that. Okay, pretty much done in many regards, but we've now got to look at some of the beautiful beautiful lights and oranges and lots of beautiful things going on in here with the building itself. Some lovely yellowy golds in some of these up here. I'm going to have to change my brush in a moment. I know it's not going to. There's a pale colour around there which I've missed. Okay, right, I'm going to put that brush down for a moment. I'm going to come in for my rigger, and I've got also that very long, very thin filbert, which is really quite a weird old brush. Little bit of liquid just to make things move a little better. And now I'm coming in and I'm just really sort of I's and T's now. Just if I was doing this out in the field, I would have done exactly what I've just been doing. Got the picture set up predominantly, finished off, and then I will be doing all the other bits and pieces that need to be done to get it finished. A little bit of light I'm going to put onto there. Lots of lovely little statues and forms around here, excluding that crane in the distance. Going to try and bring that sky in to behave itself at that point. There is a bit of blue that's missing there, so I'm going to try and marry that area together because my brush is a bit contaminated, if honest, so it's not the easiest job to do. There we go. Pretty much done. I think that works. There's a very dark, quite dominant edge to this one, so there's a nice dark shape there. It's going to drag the likes of that light off with it. Just be aware of that. If you're doing that, try and make as little effort to make it happen as you can, so that dragging the paint through doesn't become a big issue. Once you've started, it's normally quite easy to get the rest of it sorted out. There's quite a bit of dark around the top of that tower bit, and then of course we've got the crosses and different other bits of architecture on there, and on the back of this stuff there are beautiful crosses, very ornate crosses. I'm not going to give them that much ornamentation as I do them. I can't possibly achieve what took the Venetians centuries. I can only try and do the best for this picture. Right, I'm digressing, being silly. I know I can't do too much at the moment. I'm just trying to get all these bits of detail in, trying to make things look about how they should. And on this here, lovely archway, beautiful, lovely cast shadow coming around and down to steps and entry. Then there is another much smaller door down in there. Dragging a few bits through, just suggesting other levels and steps and darks. In here we've got a lot of dark happening, like so. A lot of shade, a lot of shadow. And there's not too much shade and shadow, there is half of that. So let's bring in that half. And then we've got this other one over here. And they actually, I've got them quite wrong. They actually meet in the middle, coming down into some sort of arched arrangement, and then they sort of join there with a bit of architecture. Then you've got that tower bit on the end, which I've already put the point on, as it were, on a bit of description. And there's quite a, these have got friezes, I'm sure these have got friezes, some lovely beautiful paintings in those panels. And the same of course over here, which I can't see, which is really annoying. I'm going to come in and do what I think they should be, which I'm trying to mimic these, so I'm going to put a lot lighter in, like so, and again on there they join. Now then, there are several of these yellowish, lovely ornamented tops, and they descend down and going away like that. There is a very similar lovely ornamented top to this, which I need to put in. Similarly over here. John. Hey John, good evening to you, mate. No, not at all. Nice to have you on board. Hope work is all going properly. Everything happening as it should for you. Put a little bit of light over it in that, just to suggest that down through there. Ah, hate that when that happens. Sort that out later. And now I'm going to make ready, because there is that lovely statement of those beautiful red flagpoles. So I'm going to get that ready. It's not as bright a red as you think, so put some mixes to that, cool it down. It's quite a drudgy red. When you look at it, it's red, but it's got a lot of umber in it. It's not as bright as you think. And I'm just going to come in with a few more yellows on some of these on here. And on the top of that there. Working up, and then a little bit on top. Then it's got its cross. This one's got a little bit there. So I don't know how good or bad this is turning out, but we shall see. There's quite a little bit of stuff going on up in here. But it's very, very hard to tell exactly what I'm looking at. John, when do one step at a time? Our work is slow, picked up a bit, but nowhere close to what it needs to be. Well, I hope it all works out very, very good and very, very soon for you, mate. Putting a little bit of light into there. That comes down and goes over to some shadow. And we've got a lovely statue here of something, not quite sure what that is. And a lovely edge to this part here. And there are actually 3 statue figures there, and you see very much a similar thing on the Della Salute just along the way. And this comes down into the light. There's a lot of architecture going on through here. Lots of figurines and bits and pieces. So much. It's just hard to keep up with most of it. A little bit of yellow on that, whatever that is there. We've got the figurines. They can come up a little bit actually. Okay. And I'm getting lost. Something in there, something everywhere. Now this is where I'm at risk of sort of just getting too into the detail of stuff, whatever's going on. Nice freeze around the top of there. Well, if it was down to me, this probably thing would have fallen into the water by now. So I'm just glad it's not down to me. Okay, and so I'm going to put in a little bit of more sort of relaxed detail, just some lighter values of whatever's in there, just to suggest there's more things to be seen or looked at. Just taps of the freezes and beautiful things that can be seen on in these openings. It's just in lots more detail than I've allowed for. So there is a crest on here and stuff going up into there, another statue, another form. And there is that column of something that is a pinnacle, which I missed actually. It's actually on the edge there. So I did get that in slightly the wrong place. It should come down there and in between these two archways, or two beautiful sets. So for that, I'm just going to pop back in and see if I can change that, play around with that a little bit, just to lose some of that. Okay, let's just go back in with a darker value of that going up into there. That's better, and this one should be darker too, to match it. I think they are a pair, whatever they are. And little dark recesses, doorways, openings, windows, I have no idea, but I'm just going to put a few marks in, suggesting that's what's going on. There is some predominantly darks around here, but I think there is some form of like flags or something, I'm not quite sure what they are. So I'm just going to come over and tweak that lovely shadow that comes around there, and that will work nicely against those lights. Treading very, very carefully as I go, I don't want to overdo it. Very little light around that side. A little bit of shadow up into the top of that. Onto darks, into some of these, through there. There's quite a bit of dark coming down here, and I've got to look at these shapes again because I can't. This is very hard, certainly under the pressure of painting now, trying to see them and see exactly what the heck is going on there. They are going to have freezes in very much the same way, but they're somewhat lighter, catching that sun, which is a lot more brilliant than I'm allowing it for over that side. So let's beef that up a little bit. Let's play around with this for a few seconds. Bring that down, they come down in that nice little shape to meet there, and then it goes across. They ought to be level. Oh, come on. Yeah, no, wrong colour, wrong colour. Let's come back. There we go. Well, it's not the end of the world. It could be better. Let's be honest. Let's just come down in here. We've got that lovely shapes on this. And we've got the deep dark at that door, which I'm going to put a bit of blue as well as umber into that. Right deep in there. And if I get the second painting going, guys, it's going to be a darn quick one. So it may just be a puffy white cloud that will not have a picture on the screen. You'll just have to work with me on that one. Okay. And come in with a bit of recess under there, to the arch. Dark on the pillar, and I can't see what the heck else is going on back up there. Okay. Now then, there is these lines which I'm just going to suggest. One. They are in pairs. I'm not too worried about that. I could use a straight edge if I wanted to achieve them. In fact, I think I will, because they look abysmal. Alright, I'm going to take them off. Easily done. Take that to there and just let that settle down for a minute. And I just want to, I'm sort of keep looking at this, and I just want to put a bit more in. I see something else. I haven't put these in. That needs to be darker. These windows, lovely little shapes to the windows coming down into these little areas here. And the lovely little floor type window openings above them. There you go. Something way up in there. And yeah, I haven't even done the windows on the other buildings, so let's just quickly pop some dark marks into there, just very quickly, just suggesting stuff. That is beyond. There is another archway here which just needs suggesting, a bit warmer than I've got. There's a big cast shadow, so it comes down the edge there. Try and get that big dark mark in there. And some yellow version tones, a bit warmer down in some of these where so the sun's getting in them, and there's some lovely bits and pieces going on there, and in this one. The other ones, don't forget, are a lot more shade. There's a nice sort of picture type thing going on in there, and a bit more light on that. Somewhat there, fluted down the sides. So much. Beautiful, but so much going on. I think next time I decide to do something like this, I will pick a simpler subject. I didn't think I was going to be at this long, but there you go. It is what it is. I want to do so much more up here. But I'm not going to. No, I just want to put in there's a dark area through here, sort of like a balustrade type thing, but it wants to be a bit warmer than that. Then put some blue and some red together. So that's 2 blue. Goes all the way through there and all the way through there. But mine is just the wrong colour, to be honest. In fact, you can't see too much of it there, so that too was wrong. This side there, however, has got sort of dark going on in there. I don't know quite what's causing that, but I'll try and follow suit. Right. Alright, I haven't seen any. Have I missed anybody, by the way? Hope not. Okay, so let's come in with some of these darks around here. And they should be somewhat the same as these ones. I don't think they are. Certainly this one isn't. A bit dark in 1 or 2 of these. Well, I don't know. You can be the judges on this one tonight. But let us just finish it off by putting I'm not going to put the windows in tonight. I'm just going to put a few people in, just figures, lots of figures, warms, lights, darks. There's a street vendor there as well if you wanted to put them in. You can't ever have enough figures when it comes to Venice, of course. The only time that it's free is of so many people. There's still people about, but the only time it really is sort of free to walk around to a point is when I was there. I was getting up at 6 in the morning and I was out, and I'd done 1, possibly 2 paintings sometimes before breakfast time. By the time 9 o'clock had come, then the place was just swarming with people. You really just could not move. So many people about. Let's put this fellow in. Put a partner with him. It's always nice to go to Venice with somebody. City of Love and all these things. A few more people in, a few closer ones. There's more than my eyes have done, Sean. Never mind, we will get there. I'm not going to put the street vendor in, but what I do need to do is to try and put in these and veering off. There you go. That one's falling over, so let's try and take that out of there and there, take it out of the equation. We'll come back on that one. This one is coming down through here. Doing it again. Not so bad. And the last one is about there. Now again, they're not perfect by any stretch, but you can of course do this as I've done it, just freehand, or you could quite happily put a straight edge on that and deal with that in a different way. I chose to wing it, and it could have been better. Trying to shape up some of it. How not to do a straight line in oil. Never mind. There you go. Bring that one down. You got that little yellow, whatever they are, on the top. Now when it comes to the rest of this, you can sort of just go mad and put so much detail in and what have you, but this is not about that. This is damage limitation, I think. Never mind. It's okay. It is what it is. Got some light. It's still a little bit too on the sort of warm side at that point. Just playing around with a bit of that. Not too much light there. Someone put a neon light on that one. There we are. There's a nice little cast shadow up the side here, which we will put in. And try and put in one. And I'm going to try and put in some of these. Now you could wait for this to dry, because obviously this is just going to want to mix with all that lovely, oh yeah, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to start one about there, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Yeah, too bad. Equally spaced. A little bit of dark mixture going right in the center of them. One tap, one tap. Similarly, just one tap coming down. Got away with that. Apart from that one's a little bit suspicious. Yeah, sorts that one out. Certainly a challenge, for pretty good for a 1 hour 20. Well, yeah. We can always do better, but I think I'll probably leave it there, guys, and cut my losses. I'm going to put a little bit of light through there on that, and that comes down into there, and then 1 or 2 of these coming this way. Nice. So now you notice I gave this a little bit more light and it comes down, and lots of little areas like so that you can't really see them as such. Other little shapes and forms within the light of the square itself. radiate out in this fashion. And dirty it up a little bit over this violet just to take one or two out this way. Maybe a little lighter. A little bit of reflected light because they're a painted surface, I think. I'm not too sure about that fact. But it's more just the suggestion of. Also helps the lead in and suggestion of all these other different beautiful forms that are going on. Anyway, there we are. Right, just put in a few bits of light on one or two of these people back in here. It's not just all dark, there's some darks. I'm not going to put the street, I'm still not going to put the street vendor in. And just one or two more taps. White jacket, red jackets. I'll tell you what we haven't used. Just put somebody in a lovely turquoise green. Look at that, how that pumps out. And we should ought to have a few more people over this side, maybe. Maybe a little kitty. That's it. And of course, the obligatory tons of pigeons, which are all over the place. I don't know if they look like pigeons or what, but there you go. All right, okay. It is, and it certainly is an impression, Teresa. I wouldn't call it anything else other than an impression of Venice. But there you are. It's a bit of fun. All right, so there we are. There is the little Venice scene. Let's just take this out of it. Now this, I don't normally take these down. This is just so that I don't keep moving it off a camera. So you could sort of, I mean, any frame you put over that, if you should frame it, will of course go and make it disappear. So it's not too much of a worry. Just seeing if I had any similar pigments just to take some of that away. Just move the paint around a little bit, take the worst of it out of it. But as I said, I wouldn't worry too much because any frame you put on this would cover that up, so it's not a big deal. Alright, let's move that one out of the way. Plan B. Plan B. Is there a plan B? I don't know if there is a plan B. Let's just put in a bit of tape. Let's just put that, set that up nicely on camera. Okay, now you'll notice a complete change in as much as the board is now a warm colour orange. So I'm just going to clean off this palette. I don't want any contamination in my next painting, such as it's going to be, because we don't have too much time. This is going to be a quickie, a real quickie. So I'm going to do, if it's okay with you, because I don't have time to get the reference. I do have other reference, but not not for what I wanted to do. So a quick glug and a quick sunrise, would that be okay? Sunrise or sunset? Okay, well, if there's no objection. Tim, good evening. That's right, Tim, we're going to have another go. Stick with us. We'll see what happens in this one. Right, a quick sketch, nothing more. Just a bit of oil, bit of liquid down, and I can work in umber as I would normally do. And where shall we go? Now I am making this up, so let's just put a very low horizon in, something of that nature. We'll put a suggestion of some lovely light. Maybe we'll put our sun. Put our sun about there, maybe. Very quickly. And this is, I've only got about half hour or so, 40 minutes at the tops. So we're going to make this work. This is probably going to be more of a sun, I don't know, sunrise, sunset, whatever you want to make of it. Alright, that is pretty much all we need to do as a drawing. So let's come back in. Let me clean this errant brush up that got manipulated with reds and oranges. Get rid of that. We're going to be using a lot of those anyway, so let's just come in first and let's put in a sky. Now my sky of choice at this point would be probably using a bit of Thalocyanine blue, but I'm going to use some cobalt and a bit of white and a little bit of lemon. I ought to be making more up than that as well. Okay, let's just, no, that's way off the mark. Bigger brush as well would be good. Right, let's come in with this one. And let's come back in with some cobalt blue, a bit of white this time, and a little bit of lemon, just to flavour it. Now I'm going to tap in a little bit of red. And let's come back in. That's probably a lot better. I'm not making enough paint, so that's part of the problem. When are you going to paint a steam? Not tonight, Paul. Not tonight. All right, let's just put this in very, very quickly. And then let's bring that down to a paler version as that comes down. I will paint a steam train, probably a lovely one from the Romney Marshes, but not tonight. I need to look at some reference, and probably because of the complexity I'll probably have to do a bit of sketching and setting up a ready to go line job so that we can move on with that. Otherwise you'll never get to see the finished product. Now then, let us just put in a nice dark base to this and see where that takes us. Let that blend up, and I want to make that come a little warmer as we come towards our sun. So nice gentle blend as it comes in and away like so. Probably already looking more like a sunset than a rise, but I'm not worried. Making it nice and rich. Okay. Now then, I am going to just isolate with a little bit of lemon and a little bit of white. Isolate my sun about there. I know it's there. I'm going to protect it a little bit. Something like that. Lovely rich colours. It's when you can really get excited about making some colour marks. Going to come down with much paler yellowy versions, but quite fresh, quite yellow actually. A bit more yellow into that as that comes down here. Nice and vibrant. Even more lemon as it comes way down in here. You know, that's sort of sudden when you get that lovely streak of blood red across the sky. Take that up and blend it into the sky above. Doesn't need to have all the brush marks taken out of it. I'm never worried about that. I like to see the brush marks. It tells the story of the making of the picture in many ways, and they can be very expressive. So you don't need to sit there and laboriously try and rattle out and get rid of every brush mark. I quite like seeing them. It's just this fusion of the two areas. I will do. Yeah, I'll have to run it by him first, I think, so just to make sure he's ready for it. I'm going to take it all the way through to there. I'm going to bring that off as a little glow into that red. So I'm going to use some of that and let that just glow off into the area surrounding. Taking that through as well. Gently caressing the colours together in places just to make them lift. Now I'm going to make this come up a little bit orangey. Bit more cad yellow deep into the colour now. So I'm working my colours back. Start breaking a few off now. More yellow than anything else. Just catching some of that light. Starting to mix it up a little bit now. Cheers, Jim. Nice to have you on board, mate. Bring that through there as a nice bright streak. Little ribbons of light peeking through the cloud. And it's going to come in quite dark around the sun itself, but we're going to make better use of that. Nice little oranges in here, really working with the violets, little streaks. Now I'm going to make that quite dark around there for the minute, but we're going to work with that in a minute. Don't worry too much. Now I'm really just tapping down colour and putting some really vibrant colours in against some of these blues and the oranges, and they work as the yin yang of complementaries, of course. Like so, start to play around with more and more of these shapes, and we get all sorts of things happening with clouds, don't we, in the evening, creating lovely little marks catching that sun. And they're going to get a little more violet as they go away from their source, so they're going to start turning a little bit less vibrant, depending on the light, really. If you catch it right, these can go warm all the way up, but of course as the sun starts to descend, they will lose their power. Where are we going with this? Don't think I need to do many more than that, actually. Quite nice. Once you warmer colours, as we come down to that sun, a little bit more bright yellows and oranges into some of that, really catching it. Right. I'm going to come in with some dark now. Right. I'm going to suggest this through here, quite dark, but a little bit more green in that, a bit more umber into that dark mix. This is our lovely foreground. This is our farmland. Around here, a little bit of yellow into that, just to, it's gone a little bit too violety. I'll put that in there. Right. Now, I don't know if this is allowed or not, but I'm just going to put something past you guys. There's 19 of you watching, so it's not a great number, but just sort of sitting here while I'm painting this, just had a little thought that maybe, if not these tonight or another night or something, that I might sort of put the odd painting up, that whatever the bidding goes during the course of the chat, the course of this evening, that whatever the bidding gets to, less any postage costs, depending where it's got to go, then all the money could go to a charity. And it's no skin off my back. I just enjoy painting this, and my paintings are selling through social media anyway, so it's nice to be able to sort of give the odd one out as a charity thing. And there are lots of charities, hell of a lot of charities. I have to admit, if I'm honest, I am sort of more interested in things like the David Shepherd Wildlife Foundation and things like that, to support and help support the efforts that they go into. So I don't know what people think. Maybe I'm just being a bit rude. I don't know. Just occurred to me that people, not all the time, just once in a while, just put one of these out and if somebody wants to start a bidding, then all the money, say less a bit of postage, whatever that is, can go to a charity or shepherd or anything else really. Yeah, anyway, just a thought. A few trees. Quite warm in the course of the marks. A little bit of light at the bottom there, which really lifts that off of the ground there. That's good. So yeah, I mean, we've got two pictures tonight. I'll put them side by side, although you can't see one at the moment. We can auction one or both, I don't mind. Won't do it all the time. Obviously I've got to sell some and make a living. But it is nice to maybe one or two just put them out there, and if you want to, you can bid on it, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. Just something a little different on an evening like this. You can the winning bid can be paid via PayPal, and obviously there's a little bit of money comes out of it for PayPal. They take their cut, of course, but as I say, after postage you can all, well, let's just say if interested, this one I'd support David Shepherd and send him a check and tell him what it was all about. But if you think that's not a great thing, then just let me know. I don't want to offend anybody. That's the last thing I want to do. I enjoy all your company. I don't want to use this as a platform to raise money for anything if it becomes an offensive thing to do for people. Because some of you just like to sit and watch and enjoy, and I respect that. Just putting a little bit of light and bits around here like so, just make that sun glow a little bit more. And let's just put in trail to nowhere, road to nowhere. Haha. Now I like also, when you get the intensity of the sun, just putting a bit of red in the branches, creating that lovely warm corona of light that you see around the high point of the scene. Let that flood down there, a little bit more intense red would be good. Put that there, let that run through here and down into that mark there, which works nicely. I don't think it's actually a road to anywhere really, it's just a a few directional lines which work quite nicely. Could be in a field or something, couldn't it? Quite easily. And put the light there. Oh, well done. Thank you very much, Wendy. All for a good cause. So I won't do it every week or every time, but it's just once in a while, maybe once a month. We just do something that people would like to maybe own, and we can just put all the money to a charity cause. I have to say I am sort of lean always to wildlife charities, but there are other good ones out there, of course. You darker, warmer, bushy type things. There we go. Thanks, David. Well, it's pretty much a sorted sunset, actually, I think, mate. Sunset. Didn't want that too big. We're going to call it a sunset on this occasion. And it's signed. And it's sorted. So there we have a sunset. Get that off there and just clean that bit up at the very top. Just blend it off, get rid of that little light tape mark and be left. And say, even if you saw a bit, you're not going to see much because it will be hidden behind many frames. There we are. Alright, so there's one, and there is a second. I don't know if I pull out, where are we? There you go, 2 paintings, 2 oils tonight, and 8 seconds off of 2 hours. Now, how about that? That is cracking timing. Got to admit, even for me, that's good timing. 8 seconds to go and I beat the clock. Good one. Well, that's made me happy. So there you are, one sunset, one little picture of Venice. I do hope you've enjoyed them. Just like the moment the bidding for the sunset is going to Wendy. Catch yourself a bargain, guys, because these go for well, they've been going on the pledge for about 200 quid, but normally in the gallery they go for 400 odd quid. So grab yourself a bargain. Thank you very much, Glennis. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Cheers on you, Jim. Appreciate that. Thanks for that, John. I'll do that in watercolour for you happily. I needed that. Right, there you go, people. Two little oils. It's been a bit of fun. I've enjoyed painting them. I hope you've enjoyed watching them. I'll put a little bit of colour just in the top there to take that off the picture. Like so, a little bit of that. A little bit of dark. There you go. Sorted. Thank you, Teresa. Cheers, Sean. Appreciate that, mate. Trevor, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. Cheers, Keith. Much appreciated. Yeah, get onto it, Teresa. Christmas is but round the corner. Well, we might consider the bidding on the... I might put the sunset on Instagram and put in bids and hold the bidding open for about a week or so on it, and then see what happens. And yeah, hopefully we can raise a little bit of money for a charity. That'd be a bit of fun. I don't think there are any rules on social media that you can't do that, so we shall see. Take care, John. Lovely to have you on board tonight, mate. All the best to you. Take care. Talk to you soon. Take care, Derek. I'll see you Thursday or Friday. I'll give you a fair warning and let you know when, mate. Trevor, good evening to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope to see you next Monday. And don't forget, all my Patreons, Friday. We only had 4 of you this Friday, so maybe there'll be a better turnout this Friday at 7 o'clock. Probably be a watercolour. So join me at 7 o'clock, patrons, on Friday evening. That'd be great. And if you're not there, I need a big report as to tell me why you're not there. Good night, Sean. Take care, mate. Look after that lovely county for me, so I can get down there. Right, let's turn this off. Bid every one of you a good night. Thank you for your support. And if you want to have a lot more from me, don't forget there is always the Patreon. If you want to take a look at that, nip over to www.patreon.com/PaulLapsArtist and you will find me there. If there's something you fancy, then you know, if you fancy one of the tiers and want to get involved to see a lot more, get a lot more education and tuition from me, then yeah, happily to have you on board. There is so much more to be had on my Patreon. Just a little plug, but don't forget it's always there if you want to do some more work. The finished size looks great, and it's good that you've done it from your imagination. Yeah, cheers, David. I love those sort of skies. So yeah, I'll always do it, mate. All right, with that in mind, take care, everybody. See you all, I hope, next Monday. Take care. Have fun. Have a great weekend, but the weekend's gone. Sorry. Have a great week. See you next Monday. Bye-bye.